Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is literally one of the most staggering logistical and public health challenges on the planet. We're breaking down India's massive national nutrition and food safety initiative. It's called Eat Right India. When you're dealing with a population of this massive scale, public health isn't just about handing out good advice, right? It requires a huge, coordinated structural blueprint. Seriously, how do you actually guarantee safe, wholesome food for over 1 billion people? I mean, just imagine the sheer logistics behind safely feeding a population this massive. You've got food ecosystems ranging from ultra-modern megacities straight down to remote rural villages, and literally thousands of vibrant, bustling street food markets in between. It's a monumental task. A simple policy tweak just isn't going to cut it here. Okay, let's dive right into this. To break down this sprawling initiative, we'll follow a 4-part roadmap. 1. The Grand Food Mission. 2. Transforming public food spaces. 3. Empowering consumers and businesses. And 4. Engaging through food culture. So, starting with Part 1, the Grand Food Mission, laying the groundwork for food safety. To really understand the groundwork here, we've got to look at who's actually steering the ship, and that's Fssai. That stands for the Food Safety and Standards of India. They were established under a 2006 Act, and their core mandate, their whole reason for being, is to lay down strict, science-based standards for food. They regulate the whole shebang: manufacturing, storage, distribution, sales, and imports. This isn't just a bunch of arbitrary rules, It's a rock-solid, science-packed foundation aiming to ensure that safe, wholesome food is available for human consumption right across the entire country. But here's the thing. Fssai doesn't work in a vacuum. You simply can't tackle a billion-person food system alone. No way. So, they've adopted this massive, whole-of-government approach. They're integrating food safety into huge national networks. We're talking the nutrition-focused Poshan Abhiyan, the nationwide cleanliness drive Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the active lifestyle movement Fit India, the Ayushman Bharat healthcare initiative, and even the Department of Consumer Affairs. It's basically a vast, interlocking coalition fighting the good fight on multiple fronts all at once. But how do you actually make sure all the individual states follow through? Well, you make it a race. The State Food Safety Index is such a brilliant mechanism. It literally turns public health into a competition among Indian states. By ranking the states on how well they ensure food safety and scale up these Eat Right India initiatives, they create this incredible competitive drive. It pushes local governments to actually outperform one another in protecting their citizens' health. Talk about a win-win. Moving right along to Section 2, Transforming Public Food Spaces, bringing policy to the physical world. Shifting our focus to the physical world now, this initiative targets the grassroots environments that we all interact with every single day. They are rolling out certifications for very specific, highly trafficked spaces: the Eat Right Street Food Hub, the Eat Right Station, campuses, schools, and, get this, even the Eat Right Place of Worship. I think this shows a deep understanding that food safety can't just live in an abstract policy document. It has to be guaranteed right where people actually gather. Whether you're grabbing groceries at a local market, eating at a university dining hall, or sharing a meal at a spiritual center, the standards have to be there. 150. Now keep that number in your head for a second, because it represents a highly concrete, incredibly impressive milestone for this program. That 150? That represents the number of railway stations across the country that have officially achieved the Eat Right Station certification from Fssai. If you've ever traveled by train, you know exactly how heavily you rely on the food vendors at the station, right? By targeting India's vast railway network, they're turning a universally relatable travel experience into an absolutely massive public health win. To put that in perspective, millions of daily commuters now have access to verified, safe, and hygienic food spaces while they're in transit. Okay, that brings us to Section 3, Empowering Consumers and Businesses, Tools for Everyday Decisions. What's really fascinating here is how they're targeting both sides of the food counter. Look at the consumer side. We're talking practical guidance on reducing fat, sugar, and salt, busting those common nutrition myths, and super importantly, teaching everyday people how to actually read food labels. But then, on the business side, the burden is equally shared. Businesses are given strict guidance on managing food waste and using safe, sustainable packaging. It's great because the initiative clearly recognizes that you can't just tell consumers to eat better without also demanding that businesses step up and operate more responsibly. And a major part of that business responsibility is this thing called RUCO. That stands for Repurpose Use Cooking Oil. It's a highly targeted business initiative designed to safely and sustainably manage cooking oil waste. We all know that reusing cooking oil too many times is a serious health hazard, right? So by creating a formal system to collect and repurpose this used oil, they are directly tying environmental sustainability into immediate, on-the-ground food safety. It's a real game changer. Now, to actually enforce all of this, the government introduced these tangible eat right tools to the public. We're talking about things like the Food Safety Magic Box and the DART book. These are literal physical tools meant to help combat food adulteration right at the source. And when you pair those with Javik Bharat for identifying organic food, plus very clear hygiene ratings for restaurants and establishments, well, these tools completely empower citizens. They're making better, safer choices, which essentially turns everyday people into active, vigilant participants in the whole food safety ecosystem. Finally, let's look at Section 4, Engaging Through Food Culture, Making Nutrition a National Conversation. The strategy they use here is just brilliant gamification. They've got the Eat Smart Cities Challenge, the Eat Right Creativity Challenge, and these fun, interactive public food safety quizzes. The overarching goal is simple: engage, excite, and enable citizens. By turning healthy, sustainable eating into these massive citywide challenges and creative competitions, the government completely shifts the tone. It goes from being a dry, boring public service announcement into a truly active, community-driven event that people actually want to be a part of. And you can really see this momentum building up chronologically over the last few years, starting with the Fssai Foundation Day back in 2022, then hosting the massive Global Millets Sri Anna Conference in 2023, straight through to the Global Food Regulators Summit in 2024. This timeline perfectly illustrates that India isn't just tweaking its internal food culture. No, they are rapidly scaling these conversations up to major global summits, bringing serious worldwide attention to their evolving food standards. But honestly, perhaps the single most fascinating cultural highlight of all this is Flavors of Sri Anna, Sehat or Swat Kisang. Get this. It's an actual, produced television show that broadcasts directly into the homes of millions on Doordarshan National every Sunday night. They proudly announced a 13-episode recipe show celebrating the health benefits of millets is now live. I mean, what an incredibly smart tactic. They've taken what could easily be a very dry piece of standard nutritional advice, hey, eat more nutritious millets, and they've spun it into highly engaging, delicious cultural entertainment. It merges strict health policy seamlessly with primetime cooking television. Just brilliant. So we've seen how India is actively attempting to guarantee safe, wholesome food for over 1 billion people. It touches everything from massive government coalitions and state-level competitions all the way down to certifying local railway stations and broadcasting Sunday night recipe shows. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought to chew on. If these monumental, ambitious concepts can be successfully applied to a population of over 1 billion people, how could you take these exact same ideas, like certifying spaces, repurposing waste, or gamifying health, and use them to change your own local food ecosystem today? Think about it. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer, and as always, keep asking those big questions.